presented by Motion Sports Network. Hey, guess what? It's working. So it's me, everybody. It's America's most adorable co-host with you. I wanted to jump on and do a special broadcast tonight. There's just so much happening in the world of sports. So unfortunately, Greg has Motion Sports Network mobile command somewhere where he doesn't have a uplink back to home base. So I will shepherd everyone through here from Burnt Couch Studios. So, like I said, I wanted to come on tonight. There's just been a lot happening in the world of sports since we saw everyone on Monday. And this coming Monday, we're probably going to dedicate the whole broadcast to the NCAA tournament, picking brackets and going through stuff there. So there's just a lot that has happened here in the last couple of days. So I'm going to try and make this short. Nothing I ever do is short. So, but I'm going to try my best. So, as you could have seen from the description, it's mostly football and baseball. So let me jump right in. In the NFL, I think the kind of everything started breaking there Tuesday with Aaron Rodgers deciding he's going to stay with Green Bay. Looking at it, the contract isn't exactly finalized yet, but from what I've seen from most places, he is going to become the NFL's highest paid quarterback. And also on the heels of that, I believe it was just today that the Packers gave their franchise tag to Devontae Adams. As it looks right now, Rodgers and Adams are $47 million, or almost 25% of Green Bay's salary cap. I'm not a salary cap expert. This league year thing that starts in a couple of days and got to be under the cap by then, and lots of restructuring of contracts have to be done. But without doing a whole lot of that for Green Bay, they are going to be over the cap. Some players are going to have to be released. A lot's going to have to be done. If the contract is what I'm hearing in the $50 million range, you're looking at I'm thinking that Green Bay doesn't have a whole lot of money to play with. They're not going to be getting anybody else. What are they going to do with some of their other defensive players? Committing that much money to just two players, not a great idea in my mind anyway. If Favre retires in, let's say, a year or two, Favre, I don't know why. I've thought. I keep having Brett Favre on my mind because I still have him associated so much with Green Bay, and I don't know why Rodgers reminds me so much of Favre, but he does. So, but Rodgers, if he only hangs out for a year or two, I mean, things could be better for Green Bay. But I think that they're really looking that they've got a shot in this next year or two, because the NFC is still down compared to the AFC. Your top quarterbacks are over in the AFC. Your tougher teams are in the AFC. So get them a chance, get to the Super Bowl. Maybe they got another chance at one, but I don't like it, for his age factor and the dollars factor that Rodgers is going to be getting from Green Bay. Hopefully for Packers fans' sake, it's only going to be for a year or two. Hopefully for Bears fans' sake, it's going to be for a long time, and they have lots of salary cap issues to deal with. Also, the Denver Broncos make a trade with Seattle to acquire Russell Wilson. I'm on record as saying that I'm not the biggest Russell Wilson fan. I kind of think he's a prima donna. I think he thinks that he's better than he is. But as I've thought about this move a little bit, I'm thinking that maybe he didn't have the best weapons in Seattle over the last couple of years, and I think that brought on some frustration on his part. Going to Denver, I think Denver has some good young pieces that he can work with offensively. It was said that Denver was his top choice of a destination to get to go to. He's only 33. This is Rodgers, almost called him Favre again. Rodgers is already 38. So, if you can get 3, 4, 5 years out of Wilson, and get him, if he can play at least 38, it's going to be pretty good for Denver. Denver gives up Drew Lock. Can't read my handwriting. They give him a tight end. They give up a tight end and a defensive lineman as well as 2 first-round picks. One of those being the number 9 pick this year and next year's first-round pick. 2 second-round picks, which that is number 40 this year, and a second-round pick next year, and next year's 5th-round pick. That is a lot for Denver to give up. But if you're Seattle, that's not a bad haul to get back for someone who didn't really like playing in Seattle anymore. Get away from that, get past that, and move on to, let's see what maybe Drew Lock could do. Maybe they're number 9. They could be looking at one of the quarterbacks in this year's draft as well. Again, I'm on record of saying how much I like Malik Willis. Malik Willis going to Seattle? That doesn't sound all too bad. I'm probably the only one saying that, but hey, I'm like Malik Willis is my guy. I want Malik Willis going somewhere where he can develop in a good system. And so then yesterday, news came down that the Washington Commanders, that's them, these guys. Yeah, I am a heck of an upgrade over Monday night's sign, Commanders suck sign. This one, courtesy of my beautiful and talented wife. I really, really like it. That came out really well. So that's going to be a part of all broadcasts going forward. The Commanders suck sign sitting right here over my left shoulder. But so those sucky Commanders go and trade for Carson Wentz. Listening to media around here, they want to say that he's, that he can go and play like his old self when he was in Philadelphia before his injury. That he's right in that age where he can still produce for quite a few more years. That they're even still talking that Washington could be drafting a quarterback in the first round. Why you want to trade for a starter and draft somebody, unless you have a history of developing quarterbacks, which we know Washington does not have any luck of developing quarterbacks. I don't know why you would want to do something like that. So they send a third round pick both this year and next year to Indianapolis for Carson Wentz. Next year's third round could become a second round pick if Wentz plays 70% of the snaps, offensive snaps for Washington. So they're betting on one team's betting for, one team's betting against the injury. But this to me just reeks of when Washington went and got Donovan McNabb. A guy past his prime. I'm not saying that Wentz is exactly past his prime yet. I think he had a decent season this past season in Indianapolis. But he if he's moving into his prime years now, good. If he's past his prime already, then Washington has again made a terrible gamble. And if they're looking at one of this year's quarterbacks and hoping they can develop him, best of luck to you. Maybe you can stretch Wentz out for 2-3 years. Wait till next year's draft. Look at a quarterback there. But I don't see Wentz making Washington that much better. And with Dallas is still going to be the preseason favorite to win the NFC East. There is a spot to challenge for an NFC wildcard berth. I said earlier, the NFC is not the better of your two conferences. Washington definitely has to be better than next year with Wentz than they were this year with Heineke. Even though I liked Heineke so much, I said that Washington just needed to spend the time and teach the guy some things. I thought that his teammates supported him a lot and were really on his side. But I blame the Taylor Heineke fall and debacle and terrible season solely on the coaching staff. They could have done a much better job with him. Is he the most talented quarterback? No, but I think he was competent enough. The coaching staff needed to do better. So that's where Carson Wentz comes in. You don't have to work and teach and train and develop this guy. He's a known commodity. He's a quality starting quarterback. If you were to rank him, I would say he's definitely going to be a very good quarterback, top 15 quarterback, even maybe. But is he coming to Washington and going to get the support that he had in Indianapolis? This is a terrible, terrible, terrible team with terrible coaching, terrible ownership, terrible management, terrible media, terrible fans, terrible all around. Any way you want to look at it. Terrible stadium, terrible city. Raul John. That's don't let Washington fans talk you out of that. Stadium is in Raul John, Maryland. It's just should forever, don't ever let them off the hook. They play in Raleigh, Maryland. But okay, all right. So that's pretty much the football end of it. So then today, after Monday's show, we had the Favre announcement on Tuesday. Russell Wilson Wednesday, and Carson Wentz. And I think the news with Wentz came down Wednesday too. And then today, here it's Thursday, and what happens? We have a agreement on a new collective bargaining agreement between the MLB owners and players to end I think there's a 99-day lockout now. Good for baseball. Baseball is going to be back. They're only going to be pushing opening day back. Original opening day was set for March 31st. March opening day is going to be pushed back to April 7th now. So the amount of time that we're losing baseball really only about a week. So that is definitely going to work in baseball's favor. I'm glad they were able to come to this agreement soon, even though they said a couple of weeks ago that they were going to be canceling some series. I'd heard that this morning that they were saying the second week of baseball is canceled, so there goes 2 more series. But no, they've said that they've agreed upon that they're going to play a full 162 game schedule this year. Throw a couple double headers in there, can cancel an off day here or there, and they're going to get that 162 in. So, what were some of this is a very in my opinion, all-encompassing collective bargaining agreement that was struck. It's not just about the luxury tax or competitive balance tax, they call it, and compensation for younger players in setting up the draft and some new rules. It wasn't just one thing from each of these buckets. It's all 3 buckets together. There are going to be increasing the competitive balance tax, their luxury tax, their soft salary cap, if you want to say that, up to $244 million, which will then rise consecutively over the next 5 years of this agreement. Younger players, compensation for younger players, which was a big sticking point that the players were after. They are going to get their minimum salaries raised from the 500,000 range up to 700,000, rising to 780,000 minimum salary in the end. And then there's the teams are going to put it into a pool $50 million to give out to younger players who have not reached salary arbitration yet. So if you're a younger player in baseball, and a lot of the younger players are what the teams are building themselves around now, you can build you some cheap teams, but those players are going to get some compensation now. I have to say that I'm absolutely glad for that. The draft, there's still some odd draft things that are going to happen. They're trying to get draft picks. What's the word for it when a draft lottery? Dang, man. So when I don't write the little notes down for myself and I rely on this thing up here, it's not gonna work all that great all the time. So they're working on setting up a draft lottery thing and something to either award or take away draft picks for some service time manipulation things that the players had. All right, brain, come on. We're about 20 minutes in. We're only trying to do like 10 more minutes. Come on, brain. I need you to work with me here. So let's get back to it. Service time manipulations for the younger, for keeping players in the minors until a point that they bring them up mid-late season, something like that, and time doesn't count. That's a weird thing. You want to know about service time manipulation? Go somewhere else. It's very boring to read about. I've tried, trust me. So, and then the bigger thing is, in my opinion at least, is some of the rules changes. One of the first ones we've already touched on that was kind of already agreed upon before they settled on their full agreement was that they were going to be bringing the designated hitter to the National League. Not a fan. don't support that. I'm not with it. I don't like it. But I can't do anything about it. The DH is here. It's one of those when it started in the American League, I knew it was only going to be a time before it came to the National League, and so here it is. And well, what can you do? Pitch clock. This one I'm actually kind of excited about. A 14-second pitch clock with no one on base, 19 seconds with a player on base. I'm bored to tears of a pitcher looking in to get the sign and shaking off the catcher and shake him off again and shake him off again. So then he steps off. And so we start this whole thing over again. If this is going to tie in just a second to one of the other rule changes. If you're so into analytics, then whoever's sending the sign to the catcher, the manager sending the sign to the catcher, knows that on a 1-0 count, this guy is 78% chance that he's going to swing and miss at a curveball. Then you throw him the curveball. You send in the curveball sign. You okay, throw down the number 2. Okay, and then here comes the curveball. But no, it's the shaking off stuff. So the shaking off thing just keeps going on and on and on because you don't like the pitch. But you know what? That's what you're being told to pitch. Throw the pitch. If you don't like it, then you've got to figure these things out. These analytics need to be going through your head. But all of a sudden, you want to play a field game. Oh, I don't feel like a curveball here. I feel like I like how my fastball is going. But you want to love analytics. So but analytics are saying 1-0 pitch, throw the guy a curveball. But no, you don't want to throw him a curveball. So you either get on the analytics bandwagon or you get off the analytics bandwagon. You can't have 1 foot one place and 1 foot somewhere else. So as I said, how analytics should have been used before now to speed up pitching. Well, analytics was used in determining whether to use a defensive shift. We don't have to worry about that anymore. The shift is going to go away. It's looking like these pitch clock, bigger bases, and banning shift things are going to happen in 2023, not be implemented this year. But that's okay. We can hang on. We can wait a year for that. I am in the camp of I don't like the shift. I thought the shift should have been allowed in play. And so they're going to take it away. But my idea was if you're going to shift for this batter, you have to leave it on for the next batter. So that would have put some thinking and some thought back into the game. If you're going to shift for this lefty and you got a righty coming up, and now you're stuck with your shortstop over on the other side of the field, would you do it? So it's just something simple like that could have got away. Could have kept from having to outright ban the shift. I've already talked about the National League designated hitter. One other interesting thing that I saw was that they're going to be allowing advertising patches on jerseys and stickers on helmets. The NHL started this a year or two ago with corporate logos on helmets. It hasn't been bad. And so when baseball's looking at some, they need to offset the owners need to offset some of these increases in salaries for their competitive balance tax and people who are playing on minimum salary contracts. So it's a nice little way to offset the cost without maybe having to increase ticket prices 10% next year. So that one I'm kind of cool with because I don't necessarily think that it is going to take away from the game that much. And if you were to take and put a little patch right here, on my Motion Sports baseball jersey, Dr. Pepper logo would look really good right there, wouldn't it? Yeah, Dr. Pepper. You know that I'm a Dr. Pepper fan, or maybe chapstick. Between Dr. Pepper and chapstick, I don't know which products you guys are seeing me flash up here most of the time when I want. So all right. So that's the pretty much talks about what is going down with that collective bargaining agreement. And like I said, I'm glad for it. I'm glad that we're only going to lose a week of baseball. I mean, what if we had to hang out all the way until, June 1st, middle of June, 1st of July, we were going to miss a ton of games and a ton of series. Then it would be a little more hurtful, damaging to the sport. But only pushing opening day back by a week, and I like the idea of opening day happening in April. Not March still seems like NCAA tournament time to me. So April is baseball time, and I'm good for that. But I'm not 100% sold that everything is going to be A-okay with baseball. As we talked about on Monday's show, both Greg and I are not cable TV subscribers. We get our TV through streaming services. Greg uses YouTube. I use Hulu. So hey, YouTube, Hulu, patches right here. We'll go for it. So, but that's we've determined that we like those services. And one of the things that I said that I had to give up when I decided to go to streaming was that the regional sports network here in Washington, D.C. that covers the Washington Nationals and Baltimore Orioles is not available on a streaming service. Why not? Baseball? Why are you trying to keep this from people, from fans? You're totally not offering your product to, well, some studies are saying a third of households do not have cable TV. So you want to miss out on that many people who can't see your product? So I mean, the only baseball that I get is really a Sunday night, Tuesday night ESPN game, and then I think TBS, Fox will occasionally have some Saturday games. So if this is the way that the world is moving, you need to move with it, not fight against it. And baseball, I think, is fighting too much against streaming services, and I wish that they would get on that bandwagon. But are they not on the bandwagon? Because many of these regional sports networks are a part of cable providers. And so that's where they're keeping it. The other thing could be the rights fees that you're talking about. Is Hulu not looking to increase its cost to its subscribers by going and having to pay all these individual rights fees of all these different sport networks across the country? I'm not a financial guy. I'm good digging the dirt guy. So I don't know the ins and outs of financial ramifications of how all that stuff works. All I know is that the world is moving more towards streaming, and baseball has got to find a way to get itself there. I think they did something with YouTube where they did a YouTube game of the week, maybe last year, the year before, some or a couple of years back. I don't know I don't exactly remember what that was, but it's this whole untapped world, and you could go and get yourself there. Get yourself. There should be a game on every night of the week on some network. If it's not ESPN, TBS, or Fox, then the MLB network should be airing a game. Should be taking the local feed of let's say the Kansas City Oakland game tonight. They should be taking the local feed of that and putting that on MLB TV on a streaming service. MLB TV isn't even on streaming services, but just hear me out here. If they did that, and if you're sitting down and you're watching, you're like, man, you know what? Right? I think I like watching that baseball on TV. Maybe I'll look at another avenue to move away from streaming, or to just come straight out and get these local sports networks, regional sports networks, onto streaming services. It truly is a bummer. I do miss baseball. but I don't miss the amount of money that I had to pay for baseball. I'm not talking about like just $8 or $10. No, it's the difference between cable TV and streaming services is somewhere in the neighborhood of $75 a month, and that's a whole lot of, and I'm going to pay that extra $75 just to watch baseball. It's a decision that I made. It's a decision that Greg made. That hey, it's just something that we're going to have to go without. And when I want to see my baseball, I'll look up highlights from my team's website or something like that tomorrow. So, but that's my diatribe of us as far as baseball and streaming and baseball. You're still slipping in the national rankings of sports, and you should be wanting to move yourself back up. So you need to ingratiate yourself to the country again. America's pastime is what baseball used to be called. It was a great way to pass the time on those summer days, summer nights. But now everyone kind of just uses it as a stopgap. Come July, here comes football. I'm ready. I'm done with it. So it's a shame because baseball was my first love. I absolutely, I loved the sport when I was younger. Even up to through my 20s, I thought it was a great game. The 1994 player strike really hurt me and hurt lots of fans. And if you saw my history of sports in my lifetime, part 1, I covered a lot about baseball. So, well, all right, I'm pretty much going to end here on that note. As I said at the beginning, it is going to be pretty much a NCAA tournament show for us come Monday, where we're going to look at the brackets, break down the matchups, give you our picks and everything like that. One of the most fun days of the entire sporting year is the day that the brackets come out to pick up a newspaper Monday morning and look at that. I just absolutely love it. And as I think I said before, this is the weekend that my wife and I celebrate the time when we met, because we actually met on the Saturday before Selection Sunday. It's 21 years ago now. So she stuck it out with me for 21 years, and God bless her for that. She's an absolute saint. Love her to death. I don't know. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for her. So honey, if you're watching, if you catch this, then you know that this is one of those weekends for us to celebrate the stuff, our time together. I've loved it. I've loved every minute of every day of every year with you. And then it's not just the fact that it's that. I mean, this is, we will sit, come next Thursday when it's game time. Well, that's all we're going to be doing next weekend. The next 3 weekends, it's just basketball watching. Something that we love to do together. We get pools together with lots of family and friends and have a great time with it, like most people does. And so that's why I say it's one of the best days in sports coming up here Sunday, Monday, and one of the most exciting times in the entire sporting calendar. So that'll be Monday, everybody. Hope that everyone's back with us Monday to see our thoughts on the bracket. So until then, make sure you're checking us out on Facebook, on Instagram, on Twitter, YouTube. Get yourself to YouTube. Get liked and subscribed, and get your notifications turned on so you'll know when all this stuff comes on happen. Motion Sports Nap. It's not a nap. Dang it, I need a nap. But his brain's going. The Motion Sports app is available for download on all Amazon Fire and Roku devices. So get you one of those downloaded too, because all you streamers, as we just talked about, 1/3 of the country ought to be having the Motion Sports app on their devices, because more and more is coming, more and more is happening. So until I see you again next week, everybody, have a wonderful weekend and enjoy your NCAA selection Sundays. See you then.